handsome man is back.
Anything's a bit airtime off.
Had severe pad rash.
You're not on any treadmill.
That was a brutal onslaught.
5 outside the ring or 4, and I was like, oh god, that's the basics.
I used to question that all the time.
Which is obviously great for the bush. Hello and welcome to Under the Lid, the pro cricket show, with me, Jack Brooks.
And me, Katherine, Sciver-Brunt.
And as always, this podcast is brought to you in partnership with the PCA and the Cricketer. And I don't know how many hours to go. How many hours to go? About 3 hours till your birthday, Brunty, is it?
Oh, crikey, already. You know as well as I do, A, you don't mention it, and B, we don't count anymore. I think past
and
21.
It's the 40th as well.
Shush. Excuse me, darling. I don't look a day over 21. Yes. Unfortunately, it is a few hours to my 39th, to be clear.
Any exciting goings on for it tomorrow, or was it just a cup of tea? Chill?
I wish I could say I had something good to do. But there are things that I need to do tomorrow that just take precedent in the world over the birthday. So, but at least I'll be with Nat. She's lurking in the background over here.
The planet's greatest female cricketer current.
She comes first, and I must follow around like sort of sheep. But also getting to commentate, so that's fun. But in terms of the actual birthday, not that exciting, I'm afraid. So sorry.
Bit like me a couple of weeks ago, just very low key and rather forget about it.
Yeah, had a couple of exciting things the other day though. So really fun watching Nat block 10 balls to make sure Bush/my Bouchier got her first ton in any form.
Yeah, I saw that.
Any form.
Would you have done that in the same situation? It's obviously great for the Bush, but would you have done that at the other end?
I mean, I was praying Nat would, because I mean the crowd. I think she would have been hung, drawn, and quartered. Yeah, it would have been an old school situation, but she managed to block out even a full toss. I don't know how that's possible. I feel like instinct would have set in to baseball that over the pavilion, but no, she managed it. So all good. Have you? How's the calf? More importantly.
Oh God, yeah. So I've got a calf strain from playing club cricket on Saturday. That old man injury is back. I've not done it for about 5 or 6 years.
Did you do like a little hop as well, like a ooh?
I didn't even do it bowling. I was batting because I'm making so many runs, batting so long. I had to get a runner out, and I basically said to the opposition I wouldn't be able to bowl, and I didn't, and we lost the game. Another loss for the Banbury, unfortunately. So yeah, not ideal. Hopefully it's just low grade because I can still drive and walk around all right. It's just I've got to watch it, I think. And it was my little boy's birthday last week, so that was good. And I was with Surrey obviously for 3 days out of the 4 of the second team game, which was great.
Sweet.
And that sort of lead us on to who our special guest is this week as well.
It is. We've got the test match coming up soon, haven't we? We've got the fine Lord's test match. Everyone's buzzing about it. I'm going to be there. I'm panning Nat off for it. That's how much I want to be there. You know, Jimmy's last. So with that a few days away, we thought we'd bring in one of their stars. Obviously, we're going to bring in the vice captain, Mr. Ollie Pope. So looking forward to that. We only
get the stars on here, don't we? Before we get him in, just remember you can send in any feedback, any good feedback, bad feedback, any questions for us by using the hashtag Under the Lid, or email us at hello@underthelid.co.uk. So what do we know about our guest this week, Brunty?
Well, I think we all know how good he is. Obviously, being vice captain is no mean feat. So there's always very good reasons behind things like that. And his 196 match-winning innings against India over the winter was, something to add that to. So I'm properly dying to get under the lid with Ollie here and get the juices flowing for the test in a week. So let's get under the lid. Welcome to the show, Ollie Pope.
Hello, guys.
Here he is. All right, Ledge. I forgot to say, Bronte, you know he's got a cute little dog as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? Every time someone comes on, they've got a dog, they belong on here. This is mostly about dogs. Can we have a visual?
He's asleep down here. Jackson, come here. He'll come and say hi now.
Was
He
it
loves a bit of
Jackson?
Jackson.
Jackson.
He's got Jackson. Right. There you go.
Is he
There
obedient?
he is.
Oh, Nat, look.
Handsome dog.
Jackson, here. Come here. What's this? Come up here.
He's not happy. He's just woken him up.
There you go.
Handsome beaut. Look at
Golden
him.
Retriever. Fox red
Golden
golden.
Retriever, yeah.
What a beauty.
He's a good boy. Anything for a bit of airtime, eh?
He's gorgeous. What a dog.
He's
Dogs
a
are
good
just
boy.
like, I posted something today actually. Do you like Ricky Gervais?
I like Ricky, yeah. I
love him.
He's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love him and some of the stuff he says. And he loves dogs more than like anything on earth, even probably most of his family and friends and loved ones. They're just like nothing on this planet, are they? They just love you no matter what. And they're not annoying.
That's the best thing about him.
You can boil his head talking about cricket.
Although Jackson actually was, I gave him a bone from the butcher's yesterday, and I think it was too big. And I got back, I got a week off this week before the test, and he was sick on my bed, which is
no,
from the too much bone marrow, which is a terrible.
Cheers, Dad.
Start to the
Have
week.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Seems good as gold now.
I always get worried about giving Bella a bone. She's a fox red Labrador, not a golden. Still as hairy, but I always worry about the huge butcher bones, but they love them, don't they?
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Anyhow, let's crack on with these questions. You got this test match in a week or so. How are you all feeling about the start of that? Are you looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, actually so excited. I think it's obviously India was sort of didn't end as we wanted to after such a promising start. And it's been such a long break, such a busy test schedule this year, but it feels like we've not been together as a team for so long, and we haven't probably as long as a gap as there's going to be. So I think we have a lot of fun as a team, and it's just I think there'll be. I'm personally really excited. I've obviously been loving playing for Surrey, but just ready for the test summer to get cracking now.
Yeah, Surrey, so successful. You lot just know how to do it, don't you? I bet everybody's mega fuming every week. So there's plenty of nerves and excitement. What about, how do you think Jimmy's feeling? Because it's his final one, isn't it? Is it going to be? You're going to be sad. I mean, surely privileged to be part of that.
Yeah, it's going to be an like I'm buzzing for the week, and I'm sure he is as well. Like it's exactly what he deserves. He deserves, obviously, hopefully it's not too green, but he deserves this this week to be about him. I mean, what a legend of the game. I remember when I first came into the test side, he was probably the one guy I was pretty nervous to sort of meet. And he was the one guy as well when I remember standing out at deep cover. It was my debut at Lords against India. And then I just remember thinking, geez, actually, it was when I was in the slips. I was like, right, Jimmy's running into bowling, and I'm in the slips, and I'm some 19 or 20-year-old playing a few games. I was like, if I drop it here, I'll be. That was what's first in my mind. And the second thing I was thinking about is how cool is this? But now, what a legend of the game, and he'll be emotional, I'm sure, but he's going to love every minute of it, I'm sure.
What do you think of when you think of Jimmy Anderson? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Getting angry on the golf course, I reckon.
Who's better?
Away from his bowling.
Who's better?
Me or Jim?
Yeah. Because he's good. I've seen so many clips of him recently. He's really getting on with this golf game, but I don't know who's better.
Yeah.
He seems decent.
Last time he was probably slightly better. I'm off one now, so and I hope he
one.
We've always been the same, yeah. And we were both 3 when we last played, so I'm hoping he's a 1 as well, because if he's off 3, then I feel like he'd just beat me.
I feel like you're going to spank him this one. You're getting his stiff. Play him after the test match.
Yeah, exactly. Get him after that, 100%.
Well, he'll want to bowl like 50 over 60 just to make the most of his lacquer.
Too right.
So how will you remember Jimmy once he's done? I know I'm making it a bit about Jimmy, just have a little chat about him, but a lot of us don't know much about Jimmy. He likes to keep himself to himself, and he's a bit of a sarcastic fella, but like quietly just goes about his business, lets his bowling do the talking. What were you guys all sort of miss about him the most?
I think his firstly his competitive edge, I think, is why he's been able to do it for as long as he has, which has been kind of like he gets himself up for these warm up games like as if there's nothing, and that's just why he's been able to be so good for so long. So I think that's one thing. I think he's actually he wants the best for everyone around him as well. I think him and Brody, I think for us kind of young guys, even I know they're both bowlers, but for us young guys coming into the team, they're generally always pretty good at like. I could feel how much they wanted, say, me and Zach, for example, to do well, like during Ashes and stuff. So they'd always kind of try and pull us aside and talk about like the mindset of what the difference is between international cricket and county cricket. So I think that side of things has been a class as well. But then I think just his need and his want to get better every single training session is just pretty impressive. I mean, everyone's had those sessions where they, to be honest, they can't really I guess be bothered. At some point in your career, you've had it, but I've just I mean, at 41 years old, even every time he pulled on a shirt in India, he's just wanting to get better every single session and giving 110%, and he'll bowl an 8 over spell late in day 3, and then he'll still charge to the fence and dive full stretch to get the ball. So I think that's a pretty good way of describing what playing for England, I guess, probably means for Jimmy.
Yeah, fact that it's what you want from everyone, isn't it? Even when they're 18 or 41. Good on him for doing that. So with Jimmy stepping out, you got a fair few stepping in. Like, I know there's a lot of chat around it. What do you personally make of like the guys coming in? I think well deserved, my own opinion, but it must be. I don't know. You're excited. Obviously, a bit sad for people like Folksy and Bairstow missing out, but a new opportunity for others. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the guys that are missing out, it's always so tough whenever you get dropped. But there's always an opportunity to, I guess, get back in. So that's what every player strives for. But then, the guys coming in. I mean, Jamie Smith, he scored another 100 yesterday. He's in overnight. I mean, I've watched him bat this year with the red ball and the white ball. He's just been playing some seriously good cricket. He's making it look pretty easy. So long may that continue into the Test summer. He's a seriously talented guy, and I'm sure over the course of his, hopefully what's a real long Test career, he's going to show exactly what he can do. And then some really exciting guys coming into the squad. I mean, I know Gus Atkinson, another Surrey teammate. I mean, he's bowled as well as I've seen him bowl at Worcester last week. Bowled quick with good skill as well. So this opportunity is coming at a great time for him. And then Dylan Pennington as well. I mean, I've not played against him in recent years at all, but I think whenever you sort of click on us county cricketers, you get out or you're waiting to bat, you're watching MV play and you're watching the wickets around the grounds as they fall. And then whenever I've seen him bowl and he's taking wickets, and it's just going through so nice, and he's getting the good players out, and that's always a pretty good mark. The guys who are getting the best players on the opposite team rhythm out So no, I'm really excited for those guys, and there's obviously a bit of a look into the future. Obviously with an Ashes looming, and obviously a year and a bit away, but also we've got a lot to look forward to and enjoy first. So no, it's an exciting time for the Test team, and the boys are buzzing.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I've been really lucky the last couple of months since I took this job on, which has now made me even busier, to be involved with Surrey and seeing a bit more of you around the track. Well, I'll spend more time in the second team, so I've not really seen you, but see the likes of Jamie, a few of these other new young guns up close, and some of the special players. Like, it's an incredible environment, isn't it? How much has that helped you going back into the England team, especially after your injury issues, your shoulder complaints? What's it like going back to Surrey and then flipping back into England?
Yeah, I think the transition, I mean, it's never easy kind of just hopping between two teams, because it's almost like you want to feel like you're a Surrey player when you're there and an England player when you're there, but naturally you're always going to have an eye on when the Test summer starts and when this is. So it's trying to almost find a way just to purely focus on the Surrey stuff while it's there. But no, I love going back and playing for Surrey. Look, we've got such a talented team, and get to stand at second slip for guys like Darren Worrell, Jordan Clark. Got some good young guys like Tom Laws coming through and Gussie, and it's just playing in a winning side like it has been over the last few years is just it's been see it's been good fun. But
It's
we
easy,
go
isn't it?
obviously.
Do all right.
They do all right. Yeah. No, the boys are in a good place, and it's just we have a lot of fun. I mean, talent aside, it's a very very likable changing room where there's no sort of characters that aren't quite fitting in or anything. It's just a group of guys who just sort of mold pretty well together and have a good crack on the pitch, and then enjoy each other's company away from it as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's one thing I noticed since being in the environment is how relaxed it is. When everyone just knows what they're doing, they'll turn up, give it all. The training
Yeah.
sessions are like international practice as well as you would expect with some of those players. So what's captaincy, your captaincy journey? How have you enjoyed it? How have you found it at Surrey? And obviously you're a bit of a leader now in the England environment with the VC tag on. What sort of captain do you think you are? And obviously it's probably a little bit easy at Surrey at times with the players you've got at your disposal, but you really enjoying that?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was good fun. I think first game was found tough work because I hadn't played a T20 game in a good year or so, and even then I'd only played a couple. So I was like, God, right, it's 5 outside the ring or 4, and I was like, oh God, that's the basics.
What are the
So
rules?
I
so the
used to
first game I
question
was
that all the time. Are you sure?
uh, and I think the hardest thing is actually when they start on the scoreboard is remembering how many. So you've only got to count to 4, but how many overs everyone's bowled. So that was probably the hardest bit to deal with at the start. But no, I enjoyed it. I think by the end of it, the last 3 games, I felt we really clicked as a team. I was kind of like, right, well, Spencer, he's a gun. I'm going to get 2 or 3 out of him at the start. Gus is going to bowl 1 early, and then Sean Abbott's going to come on, then Jordan Clark. Then we got some good spin option. And it's just, at the end, it felt, for the last 2 or 3 games, it felt easy. Until then, I was like, right, this is I feel like if it goes well, I'm a genius. If not, then I'm an idiot. But then really, I was kind of just like, you know what, you make some right decisions and get lucky, and you make some wrong decisions and get unlucky as well. So I think that's just how it went. But I think as a captain, pretty chilled and captain experienced bowlers, I was very happy to bounce off some ideas, and I use my batting brain to give them some ideas of what the batter might be doing. But I was pretty happy to chuck on the ball and go those 2 out, happy, sweep, and then bowl what you think. And then if I saw anything, then I'd. But I was pretty. Hopefully they'd say the bowlers would say the same. But I think I was fairly laid back and chilled. And yeah,
Have you ever had feedback from the lads, how you going? Because I found that really helpful.
yeah, so I lent on Sean Abbott a little bit. And I actually said to the guys before, I said, look, and I was completely honest. I said, because I feel like when a team loses a few games or when things don't go well, then that's when the bickering starts behind your back. And I was like, lads, all I said at the start in the team talk when I was announced as captain was, lads, I don't want anyone, if you think I'm doing a rubbish job, just
Shit.
come up to me and tell me and I'll learn. I like to think I'm quite a quick learner. So rather than don't bitch about me behind my back for 2 hours over coffee with the lads. You can do that as well, but at least tell me what you're saying because I'm learning on the job as well. So I was pretty happy. I was pretty clear with the guys that just be like if you think I can be better, just be honest. So, and then I think they went down the bitching route because no one came up to me and said,
It must
Silent
be going
treatment. Yeah,
smoothly. It's going
yeah.
smooth.
All that, and we're top of the table, so it was good while it lasted. But the reins are back over, I think, with Chris Jordan now. I think so.
yeah, you can chill now, mate. You've done your job. Hand it back to the captain. Go up,
Yeah,
off your pop.
take the VC role back now at the England stuff. It's much
Exactly.
easier.
And how about your own form, mate? Are you happy with where you've been this summer off the back of obviously a very busy, tough winter at times, but Hyderabad, let's talk about that. 190 odd, one of the greatest innings by an Englishman abroad. It's certainly probably in India. Talk to us about how special that was for you and how much confidence you took from that, even where you are now.
Yeah, I think that's always it's a weird one because that India trip is 5 tests is such a long time, and if you do that in the last game to win, and then you kind of get back on the plane and you're like, oh, how good was that? You're taking that every time in the series, but it felt like I said it the other day. I remember getting back from India and just feeling like pretty flat and deflated at the end of the trip, and then whenever people after trips when they sort of whether it's a teammate or someone randomly walking past and they go, "Well done out there." I was kind of like, huh? Well, on what? Like, it just felt like such a long time ago, and you kind of, when you lose, because we obviously lost, didn't feel like we should have, but we lost the next four, so it just felt like such a long time ago. So it was frustrating, but look, that's always going to be a memory that will stick with me forever. That Hyderabad innings, I think it forever can give me confidence in my game against sort of the spin, especially against the best spinners in the world on a tough pitch. So it can prove to me what I can do in the toughest of conditions. And yeah, it's just, I think we're about sort of making memories as well. And I think at the end of your career, when you can look back on it, that's always going to be sort of a special 5 days. I mean, the feeling of getting the runs was brilliant, but the feeling of winning that game was even better, because it wouldn't have mattered for anything if you don't win. And I know people say that sort of, and it's like, it's not, but it wouldn't have meant anywhere near as much if we didn't go and win that test. So it's something that will sort of live sort of with a fond place in my memory. But something I can gain confidence from as well.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be living rent free forever, I think. Playing in India is hard. Like, I don't know, like, as a seam bowler, it's probably one of the worst things you can choose, but batting's probably second, and then spin, you're laughing. But as a test batter, what are, like, let's say, the three key things that make you great at batting in that 5-day format?
Yeah, I think one's definitely your sort of technique. Only because I'd say you look at the best four batters in the world, or the Fab Four. Look at how good all of their defenses are. I think it's having a good defense. I think that it's a bit of a cliche, and that's something you can have through sort of playing white ball cricket as well. So I'd say that's one. I think the temperament's the next thing, because I remember, like, even this year we start the season, you're playing on some sort of lot of big swinging pitches and a lot of nip off the wicket, and my game didn't actually feel in a great place for the first month and a bit of the season, because I was too worried about like trying to cover all my ways of getting out. And then I went and played in the T20 stuff and came back, and I was like, wow, I actually felt, I know I didn't get the runs I wanted last week, and I actually feel as good as I felt now after a block of T20 cricket, because you play on a better pitches where the ball's not sort of swinging and moving and nipping around quite as much, so you actually can trust what it's doing and actually get yourself and your head in a good position. So I think that's the technique and the temperament, and just being able to trust yourself to bat long time, not just getting to 30 or 35, actually just trusting that I'm here for a long time. And then the last one, I reckon, is, I think the art of sort of playing 3, 4, 5 day games is you get two cracks in a game. And I probably fell early on in my career, I fell into the trap of sort of almost putting everything in my first game, and I can either feed off that in the second innings or my record, and it's still not great, and it's still something I'm working on, but it's bouncing back from the low ones as quickly as you can. I think the best players in the world, that's what they're the best at in Test cricket, is you can almost, exactly how they're going to start their innings every time, irrelevant of the form they're in or what they've done in the first innings. It's going to always look the same. So probably putting the low ones behind you, I think. And that's cricket as well, but I think especially in red ball cricket.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Nat's taking notes, aren't you?
Taking me notes, to be honest.
On a serious note, like, I call you a young player, but you're a really experienced player. You've still got plenty of time ahead of you. But to hear a modern player talk about their game is going to be underpinned by defence, particularly the longer format, in a day in an age when everyone seems to want to biff it and all the youngsters want to go out and whack sixes and everything. Actually, if you still want to be the very best ever in the world or be very successful over all formats all the time, having the basics and the defence is arguably the most important thing. Still,
I watched Joe Root we train at the NCPC, or we used to train at the NCPC all the time, year in, year out, and he came in for a 3-hour net, and we were like, 3 hours? is he feeling all right? And then we watched him sort of go about, he's obviously a bit of a freak, isn't he, Joe? And he went about his business, and I swear to God, for the first hour, that's all he did. It's slung balls on a fucking good length, new balls, and it's just like practicing getting in behind the ball, in line with it, and leaving well, defending well. And obviously, in a game, he wouldn't just do that for an hour solid, but like it's the technique and shape that you get into, isn't it? Facing up to those balls and not shying away from them, because they were coming down at a decent click too, and it's bouncy in there, minging.
Yeah, so. I always think that's like the best players. I think Kane Williamson's a good example as well. And those guys, they're brilliant T20 players as well, but everything is then an extension of a defensive shot almost. Like you punch it and it goes for 4, you clip it, but you're in pretty much the same position as you would be for a defence, other than you just break your wrists at the end or something. So that's why I'd say that.
Yeah, it's fact.
Obviously, what Ruti was trying.
Yeah, no, and then it basically just went on from there, as you've just said. So there's method behind the madness. Last summer you missed a fair chunk over a shoulder injury. How's that cracking now? Is it still bothering you? Are you feeling pretty good about it?
Feeling good about it. It's still sore throwing because I've done this one twice, and then I thought I'd even it out a little bit and do this one. But I've had now both big surgeries done on both sides, so they're stable. It's just trying to throw, sort of, get the power back in the
When you dive, does it put you off? Does it make you a bit tentative? Like,
I'm a little bit cautious, but I mean, hence why I've done it 3 times now. I'm obviously not cautious enough. I kind of trust what the surgeon said.
You must have done loads of rehab, I bet.
Yeah, that was the most tedious bit. That was the most tedious bit. But yeah, it's fine. Like, it's part of, I think you guys know what it's like. It's part of cricket, is you just learn to play through your little. I mean, it was a bigger injury at the time that I couldn't play through, but
talking to 2 old broken bowlers, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You don't mind playing through a bit of pain, do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is freaking me out always. I used to live on all this. This is Omeprazole and naproxen lined up to the knee.
Demons.
Yeah, my liver's better off for not a hot toddy, because my dad used to crush paracetamol into that. But boiling water and a bit of squeezed lemon, regrow that liver.
Oh yeah.
Might want to cut this, Tom. Sauce. So you did miss out on the Ashes series, didn't you? You're absolutely feeling.
Yeah. It was gutting. I think it was just played the first test fine. It was a great game. Should have felt like we should have won it. Second, and I just remember walking off the pitch because I knew what I'd done, and then because I'd done the other one twice, so I was like, "Oh God, here we go again." And I didn't even then batted twice in the Lord's Test with my shoulder out of place, and it was just like this. It's just annoying now because I feel like I can't contribute to the game that I'm playing in as well as I wanted. And then went up and had the scan, and went up to Yorkshire waiting for the results, and it's just flat. Like I think Ashes as well. You spend so long preparing for them. You talk about these year cycles, and then suddenly you get injured. But unfortunately, that is just part of sport, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But like, worse things have happened, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's frustrating. I guess the lack of control you've got over it when it happens, and it's the worst thing a sportsman can go through. Like, lack of form is inevitable, and you can kind of control it because you can still work at it. Obviously, for batting, just hit as many balls as you can or take a break. But with injuries, it's just like you can't do anything. The control is out of your hands, and it plays mind games with you. And then you just always have that doubt of, am I going to play again, regardless of how small the injury is. Me personally, that was the one thing I just could never enjoy, or I battled at times with when I was injured. Everything else with cricket for me was easy-ish because I just tried to enjoy it, but the injuries just did my head in.
Yeah, and I think as well, trying to get back into form is actually harder than, after long periods out, is harder than people think as well. You start forgetting like what your methods are, how you sort of go about your evenings the night before, and all these things, because you just don't think about it for 6, 7, 8 months.
It's like ring rust.
Forget your guard.
The boxers, they're out like 2 or 3 years at a time. Sometimes boxers are mental for how long they take, just on health reasons. It's like 6 months per fight anyway. But Yeah, ring rust.
Yeah.
It's a bit annoying. And we're all really minging people when we're doing rehab because it's so shit.
Oh,
It's boring,
oh
isn't it?
yeah.
It's boring.
It's mind numbing. It's annoying. We're not
Oh,
made
it is
for
the
it.
worst. No, and I feel like I almost felt for the people around me because I was probably the worst version of myself for just for a while, especially while you can't do your exercise and stuff. Like, I think you realise how much you miss. Like, I missed the bad days as well. That's what I found. I was like, I'd rather take my pair in India that I got and have the feeling after that game, and then you get to have a few beers and try and sort of. I'd still rather that than be sat on the sofa being injured back home because at least it's an experience, not just something
Yeah,
you just
100%. But you're still able to
not.
do your job at the
Yeah,
end of the day. That is the one thing you want to and you're able to do, and you can't do it. You probably have to go for a
yeah.
lot more dog walks. And you, Jackson probably had some serious workouts.
He was buzzing actually. He was so happy when he
Yeah,
saw I
that
was
keep the
injured.
shoulder
He saw
going.
me go down. Yeah, exactly. He saw me go down. He was like, "Right, I've got dad for 5 months now, buzzing."
Mate, we'll talk about. We're going to have to talk about Stokes-McCullum and this whole Bazball mantra. What's the influence those two, if any influence at all, I'm guessing they have, on you as a person and your batting, and also transitioning into the test side? You went in straight in at number 3, didn't you? Which you hadn't really done at all for Surrey, had you?
No, no. So I think Baz is. I remember him sort of chatting to me just after I got picked, and he was like, "Oh, mate, look, my job's not to tell you where to stand, tell you where your hands go, your head's going, just is to make you feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof." That's his saying, 10 foot tall and bulletproof. And I was like, well, that's good, but if you're not kind of throwing away your secret there, you're going to be like feeding me lies and stuff just to make me feel good. But he's got the way he deals with and manages people is just remarkable because we spent a long time together as a team, and I think just the way he manages just to bring. He's a massive optimist, firstly, so I think he sees that in a lot of aspects of his life and the way he coaches. So I think that definitely helps. And I think I remember the one example was at Lords, and I was like, who I got out cheaply in the first game I played under McCullum and Stokes, and I was like, I didn't really play any shots. I got like 12 off 35 or something, and it wasn't like he told me off like what are you doing, but I was like, he's like when you. He got a few short wide ones, and I just left them. And I was like, I remember saying to him on the Lord's balcony, I was like, oh, I just felt a bit up and down. I didn't want to get an edge on one and stuff. And like looking back on that comment, and he's like, mate, who cares? You're gonna every chance that edge goes over the slips firstly, and it's inside edge past the keeper for 4. Like, and I think that for me was quite a good example of his mindset in terms of like how he sees things. Don't fear getting out. You're gonna get out somehow. Try and make as many runs as you possibly can, and you'll ride a bit of luck along the way, and you have a bit of bad luck, but it'll all kind of look after itself in the long run. And so I think having those kind of mindsets allow you to firstly bounce back from low ones, but also it's just keeps things nice and simple. Whereas in the past, it's almost felt like some of the coaches have been like, your head's here, your hands are here, you're doing this. And really, it's like, yeah, your technique's there. It is what it is. But it's not the reason I've shinned the ball. It's because my head wasn't right. I was probably too worried about getting nicked off, so I ended up shinning one instead. So
I found
I think
like
that's probably the biggest.
I found that a lot of people I've seen get out early is because they've had something in their head. So we all know it's like 70% mental in it. So because the thousands of repetitions are already in you from a really young age, and so when I've seen people get out, I can literally watch someone in a few minutes, even just the way they walk out to the crease, and I feel like I know if they're going to get runs that day or not. And it's like based on just it's like you poke it, and you're playing these pokey forward defenses, pokey wafts outside off, and you just think within 10 seconds I'm like, he's just a bit unsure of himself, and I
Yeah,
guess trying to eradicate as much of that as possible. You're already 50% ahead, so it's like I just love that about him, and I hope, like, obviously making you vice captain at quite a young age, you be able to follow that way, because you just said you love the way they manages. I guess both of them manage really well, and is that something if you get the opportunity to be England captain, would want to take into your own sort of role.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of forget what I've been on tours where it feels like it can almost become a little bit selfish. Then going on to Stokes, I think what he's been good at is he's had a lot of time for everyone, and he's been a real good listener since he's been captain as well. Whether that be on the pitch, like ideas, but also away from it, he's normally pretty good at. Look, we've had some youngsters in the team. We've had Bashir and we've had Rayhan, obviously coming in the subcontinent, and I think the fact that those guys have come in and both taken like wickets, fifers in their first one or two games, I think that says quite a lot about the way he's managing. So yeah, if it came about one day, which would be awesome if it did, then it's definitely something that I can sort of learn from and feed off. And it's just making sure you don't get too sort of insular and worried about, right, I've got to be here and there. So it's trying to find a way of having as much time as you possibly can for every man in the team, and including especially I guess the younger guys coming in, because that's the hardest part of your career, is starting out your first 5 or 10 games, because you feel like everything's about to happen there, and you feel like, oh, if I don't do well here I might get dropped. But it's trying to find a way to, like you said, that 10-foot tall and bulletproof, that feeling in your first few games, and bring that out as quick as they can.
Yeah, fact. I think
100%, mate.
The best captains I've ever had have been people that make me feel 10 feet tall. So like Robbo was so mind melty that he knew how to manipulate the very best out of me. Might be slightly dodgy in the way he went about it, but it worked. But in terms of captains, they were a little bit empathetic. They made me feel like I was the best bowler in the world, and that they trusted that what I wanted to deliver was that was good enough for them. And if it didn't go right, it's okay. Like that, you know how to do your job the best. That's why you've got the ball in the top of your mark. You deliver what you think, and it's like you batting. You go about your batting the way you always go about it, and whatever happens, it's okay. Like, but just giving you the confidence and trust to go and do it. But you've got to believe it. You can't have a captain that says that, but you know for a fact they don't believe any of that. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, and then this, I think it's trying to find a way of almost detaching yourself during the games, obviously, especially test matches, from the result at the time, because can be a long way away, that end game, or the runs or the wickets, and try and. I think that's kind of the art of cricket, isn't it? Like what you just said there. It's like, and if it doesn't go well, who cares? We get another go at it next week. And that's not, obviously we care. If you lose, you care. If you do bad, you care. Obviously, don't need to tell people that. It's a way of helping us get over it and get ready for the next one as quick as we can.
Yeah, it's more like, like you say, it's less the care. It's more, I'm not going to think any less of you. That's what I mean. Like, I'll still be here exactly. At the end of the day. I still think you're fucking mint. And that's, if you get caught down long on, that's okay. If you get out poking, it's not okay. Situation, like, stick to what. Love it.
100%.
What about Ollie Pope, the white ball batter, mate? Obviously, the England team have just come back from the World Cup, didn't win it. Had a bit of probably an iffy tournament with what their standards would have been like. How close do you feel to getting in that team? And does you also feel like a million miles away from it when you're not in it, because it's arguably the hardest batting lineup to get into in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's felt like I've not even, over the last, until sort of this winter, I've never really even sort of thought about it, because like you said, it's been pretty stable for a long time. And yeah, obviously I've made it into the squad for the West Indies in December, I think that was. First squad that I've been in, didn't play out there, probably for the best, because I didn't feel like I could throw very far. So I was hoping to be able to slip for 50 overs. Like it or not, lads, we're having one. And then, so yeah, I mean, it's something that I've not played a lot of recently. Managed to get 8 games on the spin in the T20s, which is quite a rare little break while you're in the test team. So I feel like I've found some good rhythm there, played some good knocks, and it's just something that I'd love to get into that white ball side, love to play more franchise cricket if the opportunity came about, and just some white ball cricket as well. I mean, I'm never going to do anything while I'm in the test side to detriment that and sort of have a negative impact on that. But I think the way we kind of play now and the skills that you can learn from the white ball guys and the free franchise stuff is can actually really develop your game in the test arena as well. So I'll be definitely keen just to try and get into as many of those squads as I can.
Oh, I wish you luck, mate. You can't be that far off the class you've got. So hopefully we do get to see you with some one day or T20 caps at some point. Now, this is a podcast in association with the PCA, and you have played a decent amount of county cricket this summer. Now, Joe Root's been quite vocal this summer about the schedule and player welfare needing to be prioritised, and quite a few players have actually been speaking up about it this summer, which is great from a fellow player or ex-player's point of view. Do you have any particular views on the scheduling, or is it just one of those things that you're never going to please everyone and you just got to put up with it? Sort of, where do you sit with it?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, we talk about it a lot in the Surrey changing room, and we've got guys who are dipping in and out of it, and guys who are just playing county cricket, guys who are playing all summer, and then just for the county, then doing franchise stuff. So it's a hard one, because I chat to some of the guys who just play, say, in the championship side, and then are not making the 100 team and aren't playing franchise stuff in the winter, and they're like, well, of course, we don't feel like there's an issue, but I guess for the guys that are playing 100, Champo, franchise stuff, and then so it is tough. I think for me, I'm always careful as to how I sort of speak about it, because I'm missing this week because I'm fortunate to have an England contract, so I can sort of choose. So I'm always sort of slightly careful on that front, but at the same time, I do realise that we went 3 T20s in 4 days. I had a day off where we travelled to Worcester. So we played on the Friday night, was the last of the 3 T20s. Travelled to Worcester on the Saturday, trained that afternoon, then played on the Sunday 4-day. And then, so there are times at which it feels like it's potentially too sort of just compact. Whether there's anything they can do about that with the amount of different formats is always a tough one to say. But yeah, there's probably times where the scheduling is probably slightly too compact. But again, like I said, I probably haven't felt the effects of that quite as much, just being on an England contract. But chatting to the guys, I think that's how they generally feel. But then again, some of them spend their winter in the gym and want to just play for 6 months as well, and then they're happy just to this is my time off. This is where I can get fit, get strong, enjoy a bit of family time, and then be recharged, ready to go again come April time. So there's always going to be arguments for, I think, different sides of it.
100. I think a lot of it is individual, but I know the bowlers, from a bowling point of view, it's so hard, and you almost can't commit to all formats, which is the hardest thing as well, because you're always trying to think, right, what do I want to do? Do I want to go down the red ball, white ball? Like, what's best for me, the future? But there's so many different elements to it. It's carnage, isn't it? You're never going to please everyone at the end of the day, are you?
No, and I guess the one thing from a bowler's point of view is, you want the highest skilled bowlers being able to play each game and feel like they can bowl as quick and as good as they can. Whereas I think sometimes with the scheduling, you look at it and you go, right, I've got 8 4-day games in 8 weeks here. I might not miss a week. I might be at 80% for a few of those games. So I guess that's probably the main issue that I think is there. Is probably from the bowlers, you kind of just want everyone performing to their ability, whereas sometimes it can feel like they've got an eye on next week because they're worried about dinging their hammy or something.
Yeah, 100%. They'll be holding back. I've been guilty of holding back for sure. Just sort of running in process bowling against a lesser team and just being like, I'll charge in for England next week instead.
Yeah,
it is, but well, it's life. I mean, you got to.
That is sport as well.
Yeah, you got to be selfish. If you want to think about your career and the longevity of it, there's got to be some give somewhere. So
I thought I'd stepped off it. Now back on it now with a coaching treadmill. Great, love it.
And you're not on any treadmill. No treadmill for you, Jack, for a few weeks, my son.
Correct.
Right. We got the Cricket Archive guest stat alert with a
Right.
terrible siren. There we go. Ollie Pope, did you know, at the SCG in January 2022, he became a world record holder for a joint most catches as a sub fielder. How do you feel?
Getting buzzing. I got dropped the game before, but that makes up for it, I think.
He still got on the pitch. It wasn't rehab. He got on there, and you got, what was it? Let's have a look here. Test match innings,
It's
4
4.
catches, actually level with 5 others, including Verinder Sehwag and Yunis Khan. Lush. Good company,
They're
that.
nice names to be next to anyway, yeah. I think I dropped Kawada as well, and he got 100. A tough catch, but standing up.
Don't
So it's
remember
not that
shit
great.
things, mate.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
take
true.
back all those 4 for that one. Oh, dear.
We'll just briefly update on the PCA MVP, how the leagues are looking in the men's game. In the PCA MVP standings, powered by Argentex, David Bedingham remains top of the overall men's standings at the time of recording. Liam Dawson's in second. Surrey's Dan Lawrence, brutal century and 4 wickets in their Red Bull game against Worcester, sees him move up to third. That was a brutal onslaught in these innings, wasn't it, Popey?
Some not.
In the county championship standings, Ryan Higgins is top, David Bedingham second, Liam Dawson third. Women's game, Brunty?
Yeah, not much change. We've still got Brycey, our under the lid guest from last week, Katherine Bryce, still leading the way. Kirsty Gordon, her captain, Blaze, doing bloody well this year, remains top of Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, ahead of Grace Scrivens and Jodie Grucock. So I don't know much, if anything, of Jodie, and I know Grace is very young. So good step and positive step for the future England women's cricket. We've got a few of the youngsters smashing it, so nice.
Yeah, 100%. Popey, and any outsiders you're backing to shine in the men's MVP, or you think that current 3 or 4 is probably going to be there at the end?
There's always the same names up there. I mean, Bedingham, what a season he's at. He looks like he's playing a different game at the minute. And then Dorse, I think Dorse is always up there, isn't he? He's
all rounders, mate. It's built for all rounders.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised Harmer's not in there. He's normally right up there as well. But no, I think those are the names that probably stand out. Does the Royal London count or not?
Yes, it does. I think the 100 does as well.
Oh, the 100 does. I'm going Dorse to win it then.
There we go.
Some cricketer Dorse.
You said Dorse,
Yeah,
Jack. I mean, these all-rounders, they're well annoying.
Well, him and Higgins are just, you can pencil them in for top 3 usually every year.
Yeah, Higo as well. Yeah,
right, under the lid's big question, Oliver. As our listeners know, this show is all about getting the truth behind life as a professional cricketer. And every week we ask our host for one piece of information most people do not know about them. Ideally not cricket related, preferably quirky, but is there anything that not many people will know about you?
We should have made Ben get his tattoo out. Was it on his ass? Was that him?
What?
Ducky.
Was it Ben Ducky with the tattoo on his ass? I'm waiting for someone to do something really inappropriate.
I've got nothing good. I thought about this earlier for a while as well. I was like, I'm boring. I'm boring. I was thinking I got a dog. The reason I got my dog, and obviously living on my own, being a cricketer, probably not the smartest thing, but I love it, is because I broke my shoulder when I first did my shoulder. Because I thought, right, I got 5 months off here, so I got a dog but other than that, I'm boring. I've not got much else for you, no.
What's your middle name? Because we know that Brookie's middle name was funny.
Mine's actually, it sounds quite posh actually. It's John Douglas, my 2 grandpa's names. So Dougie,
nice touch.
Dougie's a Brummie, and then John's from down south.
Nice. A Brummie, and yeah, love that.
Yeah, Mum's a Brummie.
Yeah, my best mate's a Brummie. They're actually really great on a night out, Brummies. I'm not going to lie.
Good on a night out. Good accent as well. Wokesy, you could listen to him talk all day.
Yes, the handsome man is back. I love it.
Peaky Blinders. It's good to see him back playing cricket again. Right, moving on to the last round before we let you go, Popey. It is our NAF quiz, where we ask you generally cricket-themed questions with the odd half volley thrown in. You start with no runs. Each correct question answered is 1 run. If you don't know the answer, because it's quick fire, just say pass and we'll move on to the next one.
Sweet.
Let's get a timer up and I'll start the ball rolling.
What year did you win PCA Men's Young Player of the Year award?
2018.
Yes.
Yes, how many other teenagers along yourself played for Surrey against Middlesex in your county championship debut?
4. Other than
plus
myself,
you.
3.
Yeah, cool. Give you that.
Well, I'll give you that.
How many times have I got you out in first class cricket?
1.
Twice,
No,
apparently.
who ran you
Twice.
out in your first professional game of cricket at Headingley? Who ran you out?
Oh. Was it
Headingley.
Breslin, maybe?
Johnny.
How many first class games have Surrey lost in the last 3 seasons out of 36 matches?
I'm going to go 3.
4.
Where is the third test against the Windies this summer?
Edgbaston.
Correct. How many Instagram followers does your dog's account, Life of Jackson, have?
Oh, no, I've not logged into it. I say 2,000.
Yeah, we'll give you that.
Do you know what? You've been mugged off. That was well hard. Bryce's
hard.
questions were way easier.
Who ran me out at my debut? I don't know. Patterson was bowling, I think.
Pato is a nightmare, isn't he? The Besto apparently ran you out. I can't remember if I was playing or not. Probably was.
I think you might have been.
Can't remember.
I don't remember. Oh, you got me out for a duck at the Oval, didn't you? Is that right? Sanger and Folksy got hundreds, and I got
you were probably just had severe pad rash, and you were watching the lads pile on the runs, weren't you?
I think it was that was my second game. I think. Not sure of the other one. The seed, I'm sure.
But we can personally say thank you very much. But also, you managed to get 4 right, which unfortunately puts you joint bottom with Duckett, Cola Cadmore, Sarah Glenn, Katie Levick.
We'll take it.
At least you knew how many Instagram followers your dog's got, so that's quite important.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that needs to go up. That was all in the first week, I think.
I'm going to have to follow it after this.
Yeah, I like the content.
Popey, thanks so much, mate. I know it's late on a Monday night, and you're getting ready for a test, a massive, important test, which we're all obviously buzzing for, not just for England, but for Jimmy. And we hope you get some runs. And from a personal point of view, mate, it's been great seeing you do your thing at Surrey and welcome me into the environment. And I hope to see you again very soon or over the summer back in that Surrey dressing room, mate. Hopefully with a few trophies. But have a super summer, mate, and hopefully get loads of runs.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Great to meet you, Ollie.
And you. See you later.
Great guest though, Brunty. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, every week, which is great. I'm meeting a new men's cricketer every week, and I love it because we don't seem to get bad people on here. I'm waiting for a diva or somebody.
There isn't any in cricket. We only get the good people, the good boys and girls on here. I loved how when he started talking about the basics of his batting technique, which I think will underpin anyone listening who's looking, especially a younger player, boy or girl, what they should be focusing on. Like getting really underlid with a top player about what's important is actually, your basics and your defence is where it all starts.
Yeah. I mean, I had to get that question in because I just feel like if there's got to be some people listening here. It's the future of cricket.
I knew you'd like him anyway because he's got a puppy. So straight away he's a win in your book, isn't it?
Any dog lover we've got to get on here. We've had, I'd say 90% are either dog lovers or golf lovers, aren't they? We don't mess about. Yes.
Moving on to our feedback, we do have a few this week, which is great. Firstly, from Kevin, aka Kiplet, in response to Flower of Scotland being sung for Katherine and Sarah Bryce last week. He says, a mate told me there was a rendition from the Falcon stand that they heard on the live stream. I had moved to the opposite seats by then, so didn't hear it, unfortunately. But what an unbelievable day and night it was.
So good. I love that. When something like that stays with you. There's nothing like an anthem, is there? If you've been paining yourself through the England football matches like me and the rest of the country, the anthem does get the emotions going, so it's a great start.
100%.
I feel you, Kevin. Nice. Anyway, we've got someone else. Charlotte Tucker on last week's episode. Enjoyed listening to this. It was a real reminder of how the club/pathway opportunities for young Scottish female players have started to shift. Hopefully the progress will continue.
Yeah, amen.
And it will.
Hopefully they grow, and a really good opportunity there for young professionals come through and actually represent Scotland rather than looking south of the border, even though we'll gladly take the best players, won't we?
It is true. So Scotland, sort it out, snap them up.
And
Who's next?
finally, Ben Marnock. Thank you, Ben. Really interesting interview with Katherine. Great question on what she would do if England came calling. It's a huge dilemma as she could end up frozen out of all international cricket like Kirsty Gordon. Hopefully she won't be. No doubt she is one of Scotland's top sports stars now. Hope she gets the recognition. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? If she actually got recognition for being like a national sporting icon, and it's cricket.
Yeah.
Hopefully cricket will have that effect on the public and young girls up in Scotland.
That is true. I do wonder, have to ask her personally, if she's ever been recognised on any sort of awards forum or anything like that, even as a youngster. So, yeah, that would be nice, and it well suited to her, because it is a sacrifice not turning down opportunities like that. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, good on her. Anyway, that is the end of our feedback for this week, and we do love it, don't we? A few heartwarming ones this week, so that's nice. So keep getting in touch. Any feedback, questions, pointers, even who you might like to listen to and get under the lid with. We'll try and make it happen, won't we, Jack? Use hashtag under the lid on all socials and email in at hello@underthelid.co.uk.
Another amazing guest, another episode down. Fun as always. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, leave a review, tell your mates. It's been fantastic. Under the lid. See you next week.